actually quite funny how many times Switzerland has been in the news since 1st of January. It's it's mind-blowing. But like every year we got the same and the same and same routine when the VEF started in Davos and people gathering around in Zurich and everywhere around the world, especially now in Switzerland, if because all eyes on us, because the world's elite are meeting up there and conspiring about doing something that nobody wants. As always, I don't care if he's here or not. Just because he's here doesn't mean he won't do worse. You know what I mean? So there will always be bad rep, but I take it. As you guys can see, my audio finally improved. I had such an idiotic mistake that I got fixed now, and now I hear myself beautiful. So like, comment, and subscribe if you want to hear more of me. Otherwise, bye. Oh boy. Violent protesters have erupted in several Swiss cities ahead of President Trump's arrival in Davos for the World Economic Forum. Yeah, I've seen it everywhere. I mean, like, I get it. Like I said, I respect Trump for putting his own country first, but he, he makes a lot of people mad by doing that. That's like with everybody. If you focus on yourself, a lot of people get upset. Like, really try it, right? So like, but sure, yeah, he's an idiot. But unfortunately, he's a useful one. Not for every country, not for every nation, not for every culture. But like, we're not suffering and we're not being that much impacted by the US government. Sure, the whole world suffers or succeeds or like prospers if the economy is blooming, right? It's obvious. But still, this won't change the fact. You think he will not come again? Next year, it will be the same stupid people on the streets. But like I said, I respect him for standing up. But still, like, some protests won't do anything. And this is one of them. But fair. I mean, like, they're demonstrating against the whole VEF and the whole elite. Like, if you don't like it, just get the fuck out of the country, right? I mean, like, not just because of one, not the VEF, but like, Switzerland has been involved in numerous dark activities since like the Second World War. They act like it's new. They would just hold that economic forum somewhere else. And it doesn't matter. I really don't get it. And I'm from that city. I live like 30 minutes outside Zurich. Dude. And see who's in that crowd? We got liberals too. Masks. Masks. We still see people to this day using masks. These are idiots. These are absolute idiots. These are the type of people. Look, mask, 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 mask. Can't tell me it's cold. For them, you can tell me maybe it's cold. These three. But still. Yeah, Greenland is not for sale, and he won't take it. He probably won't. Big ego, small brain. I really think he doesn't have a small brain. With all the things he has accomplished, a lot of people will say, like, what did he accomplish? Bitch. I mean, just think about it. A lot of things. Gas prices were down in his first term, second term, whatever. I remember a lot of good stuff. Sure, there was some bad stuff, but like the wall, it was used, it was needed in South US. Can't tell me otherwise, right? But just because he gets shit done and calls him out, he's the bad one. Not always, but a lot of times. And in my opinion, he's not always the idiot. But the opposition would have been a lot worse. And if people really think they would have been better off with Kamala, if you're offended, you're a problem. Idiots. Absolute idiots. Trump is scheduled to arrive Wednesday and expected to deliver a speech at the elite annual gathering. Elite. But yeah, that's what it is. Larry Fink, Elon Musk, Bill Gates. Like everybody's here right now. All the eyes are on us. His visit comes amid Trump's threat to acquire Greenland, which has heightened tensions with European leaders. He will not grab it with force. He says his upcoming Davos trip will be successful and interesting. Yeah, I don't know about that.
So I'm going to Davos. I believe it'll be very successful, the trip. The country's never done better. We have $18 trillion plus coming in. We've never had anything like it, and no country has had anything like it. Prices are way down. Gas.
But yeah, of course, I can really see why they're standing up and fighting for him, because against him, or like protesting. The Epstein files, these have still not been really released and looked at. The accountability part is absolutely gone, and it's for that I hate him too. For that, I absolutely hate him, and he needs to be held accountable. But right now, the world needs him more for other conflicts and stuff. Otherwise, I couldn't imagine the outcome if Kamala was president and Tim Walz for governor, for vice president. Your people are delusional if you really think that's better. I mean, like, I'm more on the side of China, which is which surprises me as well, because China is the sleeping giant, Russia is the villain, not being looked at and listened. These people who hate Trump hate Putin too. You gotta understand, to be in a position like that, you can't make it right for everybody. So you gotta put your country first, and a lot of leaders are not doing that. I mean, look at the rest of Europe; it's falling the fuck apart. And I'm glad protests are erupting in London and UK as well. Get those immigrants out of the country. Absolutely.
Now is
It's even mind blowing that this has to be debated. God damn. I hope I sound sexy to everybody. Now I'm glad. You guys really don't know how happy that makes me. That my audio quality finally hit the point of, yeah, like professional shit. I'm glad.
$1.99 in a lot of places, and frankly, nobody's seen anything like this. So it's really good. But this will be an interesting trip. I have no idea what's going to happen, but you are well represented. Thank you very much.
It went down a little bit. Gas prices went down with us a little bit as well. Yeah, it's thanks to his economy. I mean, I rem- like people always complain because like and he's looked at as an extremist. Like, try to do it better. And our country is doing hella great. So why are we even complaining that much? Our country is doing that great because of the elite and all the money being here. Imagine like if they pull that shit out. Hasn't happened. It probably will not happen because our country has existed over more than 700 years. It's older than the US. So he says like Greenland, just because a Danish boat went there like 400 years ago, doesn't make it their country. For real? For real? I mean, what was that Columbus story? He went there with a boat and now it was American territory, right? So, yeah, not until the Declaration of Independence and whatsoever. Sure, there was some after stories, but still. An Air Force One plane carrying the US president experienced minor electrical issues while en route to Switzerland. That message made a lot of people happy, probably.
To some breaking news now. An Air Force One carrying US President Donald Trump is heading back to Washington, D.C. after experiencing an issue while
He
en
turned
route to
around.
Switzerland. The flight has made a U-turn shortly after taking off. The White House says the plane reportedly experienced minor electrical issues. President Trump will resume his trip on a backup plane. Here's Kristen Holmes with the
Backup
latest.
plane.
There are
But
a couple
carbon
of
footprints,
different
we
things
gotta.
that could have happened there. We also know that the tracking is not always 100% accurate. And so we started reaching out to sources, and that's when we learned that he would be turning back. So, but again, it seems to be some kind of minor electrical issue. At this point, there is not. It doesn't seem as though there is anything serious that happened on the plane. We should, at any moment, really,
Okay.
once they get
All
low
right.
enough, be able to get some kind of readout from the pool traveling with the president to get exactly what they are being told is happening.
United States Studies Central Jared Monshine claims that the future of NATO has been at risk for some time. Again, a Jewish name.
Director of Research at the US Study Centre, Jared
Donald Trump
Monshine.
looming
Jared,
over.
great to see you as always. How much is at stake here in terms of the Trump Greenland demands? Is the future of NATO at risk?
I think you could say the future of NATO has been at risk for some time. The European powers, especially this term compared to the President Trump's last term, are more serious about their security contributions, and you can see that in terms of.
They're more they're more concerned about their security. I can't see that. People are being raped and stabbed left and right in London. I mean, crack and fentanyl arrived in Germany. What are you talking about? Shut the fuck up. It's absolute bullshit. I mean, Trump took care of his own security. I've seen plenty of videos where ICE agents were pretty friendly and asked for identification and whatsoever. If there's order, there won't be chaos. You gotta have order everywhere. Doesn't matter if it's a federal penitentiary, like mental asylum, or like your street gang out there, or like or your country. It doesn't matter. You need fucking order. These people are so delusional. I can't.
Example of that being most obviously what's going on in Ukraine and how the Europeans are now supporting the Ukrainian fight against Russia. But I think the crisis at NATO is not
that security. You mean like that scam, getting all the money. Rent prices have. I mean, like in our block, there's literally 2 people from Ukraine. People, native Swiss people can't find an apartment in Zurich because it costs like 2-3 thousand plus per month. But Ukrainian people and all that stuff, yeah, we sending that money there. That money won't be used for like special That's so bullshit, bro. It's a huge corruption scam, and that shit needs to stop. And that's why people don't like Trump. He called Zelensky out. Like for real. Yeah, he does dumb shit, but try to wrap your mind around yourself and the fact what is going on in the world. It's not just black and white. The whole shit is always gray.
Something that is even unique to Trump. We shouldn't forget that President Trump's Secretary of Defense once said, while in office, a future president may not like this deal, may not want to be a part of NATO altogether because it was so unfair. And you could say perhaps President Trump, especially in his second term, is less inhibited about speaking and doing as much that shows a lack of regard for this partnership.
Why is Greenland
Okay. Jesus
so
Christ.
important? Explain to us why this has really captured the imagination of the president.
Resources and partially, yes, it's security for their country. Because yeah, partially. But they covering that excuse with they covering something else with that excuse of security.
Yeah, there's a lot of analysis of what is going on here. I think, yes, you can talk about the critical minerals that are now being more readily available thanks to global warming. But you can also talk about the fact that China now defines itself as a near Arctic power. And through its no limits partnership with Russia, is doing more than ever in the Arctic region. Now, is that looking like something that is happening right now in Greenland? It doesn't seem like there's a lot of Chinese or Russian activity in Greenland, but I think in many ways you could say that President Trump.
If you see that flag, it's already over, bro. These people are protesting. I'm already on the side. Like, yeah, let's take Greenland. Who cares? If Greenland is inhabited by these idiots, yeah, you definitely need eradication. Eradicate them all. Eradicate them all. Eradicate them all. I'd rather have a state of military. Okay, I come from a military family, but I'd rather have that than this bullshit that they're trying. Bro, that you gotta be nice to everybody and you can't say shit unless, like, whatsoever. You're not allowed to speak up. You're not allowed to speak your mind. You're not a white and a Caucasian male. Heterosexual Caucasian male is probably the most offensive thing right now that you can be. People always talk about minorities. You cannot be a minority if you're almost the majority.
Is being very aggressive in him wanting to protect U.S. land by any means necessary, including in many ways just not just criticizing, but really throwing a lot of tension into the NATO relationship, to say the least.
Yes, indeed. How does this go down with the MAGA base? Because it was America first, that's the message.
America
Yet
first.
This is further international policy, international adventurism.
Yeah, I think there's the difference between talking one way and acting another. And right now, even the Pentagon is saying that there are no plans to invade Greenland. And there's a lot of consternation within the MAGA base about what's been happening in Iran, including that prior strike we saw in Iran back in June. But on the whole, you're seeing most Americans, according to some polls, in the single digits, are only supportive of this take on Greenland, whether it be through military means or others. Right now, the American people, including...
I get it. If the people are protesting there, I absolutely get it, bro. Yeah, I mean, like, with that, we gotta show some solid... we gotta hold together. We gotta stand together. And that's what we... illustrating to the public, that's what they illustrate to you guys. They make you feel like they will stand with you, but if that blonde bitch from the EU Commission, if she's in charge, they will sell that. They corrupt them. It's absolute dog water territory. will lose it, even though he will not take it by force.
A majority of Republicans are against any military action on Greenland whatsoever. And I think anything that polls in the single
Makes
digits
sense. Common
tells
sense.
you where the American people are. And there's not popular support, but again, that's what he is talking about. He's talking about, he's tweeting or putting posts on Truth Social. That doesn't mean he's actually committing troops. And we know from his past that he likes to go for a maximalist position and then a negotiated outcome. And the question is, what is that negotiated outcome? And I don't think this administration has really spelled that out very well.
Yes, well, President Trump raised questions as to whether Europe would come to the US aid under Article 5 of NATO. That hasn't gone down well in Copenhagen, where the Danes lost 40 plus lives in Afghanistan doing just that in the wake of September 11.
You're completely right. We forget that there's only been one time when NATO Article 5 has been triggered, and it was not to defend Europe, it was to defend the United States after September 11th. And no country contributed more per
Was an
capita
inside job.
than Denmark in terms of lives lost working alongside NATO forces in Afghanistan. So in many ways, you could say that Denmark has been a model ally for the United States for decades now. And
Yeah,
so
if you
again,
say
the
so.
question is, what does Denmark do next? If you look at
Yeah, if you
what
say
the
so.
French and Canadian
Must
and
be right.
European leaders have been talking about, they're talking about being more self-reliant. Now, the question is, how far do we go? What we know is that things are going to cost more. There's going to need to be more defense spending. There's going to need to be more of an investment in their security. But the question is, at what point is it completely inefficient? Because we are we're doubling up on spending that others are already doing, allies are already doing. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is that there is going to be a cost to this one way or another.
Yeah. Yeah, well, just because of these protests, it won't end and it won't help. You firing up the opposition with those protests. With some, I understand. With some, it's absolutely stupid. And yeah, that being said, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed my 23-minute video of ranting and giving my honest opinion. With that being said, thumbs up, do all that good stuff. See you in the next one. Peace.